The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Fream, and thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 148. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter at Z2ZZEDTOZED, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Well, this is like an old school show, gentlemen. Of course, I am joined with Proulx. How are you doing, Proulx?
I'm doing fantastic.
Lovely, that is great. And the returning champion, Randy, is here. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, it's been ages. How's life been treating you since, May, I think, is the last time I've spoke with you.
Yeah. It's been pretty good.
Good. Well, I'm excited to hear about all the amazing, fun things you did over the summer. It's like a book report, so, you gotta...
I know. I was actually just kind of trying to think of, the summary, the most interesting things I did gaming-wise. So, well, I mean, I do have some cool stuff to talk about. So when we get into that, we can talk about it.
Well, I mean, yeah. Let's do some pleasantries first, because you guys, before we got on the show, we're talking about dogs, and of course, you guys both own animals, and I do as well. And boy, I had a night last night. So you know what? I postponed the show one day because I had some plans. I was going to go out, and I was leaving, and my wife was at home with the kids, and they were kind of getting ready for bed, and so I took off and started driving to my friend's house, and I get a call. I'm about a block away, and my wife says, "Oh my God, I poisoned our dog." And so my son takes a blood pressure medication for his ADHD. I take medication, and my dog takes medication for anxiety, and my wife switched the pills and gave my dog my son's blood pressure medication. And so we are freaking out and trying to get him to puke and it is all hands on deck and just panic city. We can't get him to throw up. My wife ends up taking him to the emergency vet. And they do finally get him to puke. It was probably about 3 hours after he had taken the pill. Now it's an extended release pill, so we should be in good shape there. And he's been fine today. Everything's fine. Dog came home okay, but that cost us about $600. That was, those vet things are.
Do you have pet insurance?
No.
So since there have been probably 3 instances where we have been very grateful that we have pet insurance since we got Blobby, but I think I would have talked about it on the show, but it was right around the time I went to PAX. It was actually the day before, I think, because I did end up going. Blobby I had left a bottle of Tylenol out on the coffee table, and I went to work, my wife went to school.
Yeah.
And Blobby, for some reason, Blobby really likes pill bottles, and we don't know why. He thinks they're treats, despite never receiving a treat from anything that resembles a pill bottle. So my wife comes home. He's chewed through the Tylenol bottle. There's Tylenol all over the floor. We have no idea how much he's eaten, if he's eaten any. And yeah, it was the same thing. We had to take him to the emergency vet. And at that point, he could have eaten the pills 8 hours ago.
Yeah, you have no idea.
We have no idea. So I think they made him throw up there, but it could have already been gone. And with that, because he's so little, if he had eaten 2 pills, he probably would have died.
Right.
So he was in there for 3 days. They had him on pet ICU for 3 days, and
jeez.
Fortunately he. It was fine. He may not have eaten any, but yeah, that was I think that was $3,600 for 3 days.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
But fortunately with the pet insurance, I think the premium's $20 a month.
Yeah.
There's a $500 deductible, then they cover 90%. So, it was still expensive,
Yeah.
but it was a lot less expensive.
Not $3,500 expensive.
No.
So I will say the one thing that Lovey did get out of this, which is great, because now that it's so we tried to use hydrogen peroxide to get him to throw up. That didn't work, so they used activated charcoal at the vet, and so he now has all this black around his mouth, so he looks like he's got his Movember mustache going. So you got to find the right
did they
spot.
use the hydrogen peroxide at the vet, or did you guys?
No,
try that?
we did it here
Because I had heard of that working before, but I wasn't sure if that was an actual thing that was safe or not.
That's what the vet told us. But all of our hydrogen peroxide was expired. And
okay.
so hydrogen peroxide doesn't really expire, but it loses its fizz, like it dissociates, so it doesn't quite work as well. But anyway, man, so that was my night last night. It was brutal, and I didn't even get to go do what I wanted to do. And yeah, so anyway, so that was just ridiculous. But no, everything's fine now, and I'm excited to talk about some video games. Although, that's probably about it today. I don't really feel like there's been a lot going on in the news. There's some Blizzard stuff we can talk about. If you guys are
I saw that
interested at all.
mess today.
Yes.
I watched that, yeah.
I mean, I
There's a
didn't
lot
watch
going
it,
on
but
there.
I've seen the backlash, and I mean, I would mostly agree with what I've seen so far. I mean,
Well, let's talk about it. Why
within
don't you?
reason.
What is your which item specifically are you referencing?
The Diablo mobile game clone.
The
ripoff.
Immortal?
Yeah. Developed by a third-party company that's made a game that is shockingly similar to the game that got reskinned as Diablo. Yeah, I think the huge skepticism and negative response is pretty just. I mean, not the crazy usual death threat,
right.
etc. I mean, obviously that's not acceptable. But the general response of, you took this game you already made, reskinned it as Diablo, and you're obviously going to turn it into a microtransaction machine that isn't fun. So, I mean,
it just reeks of Activision. I feel like Blizzard has nothing to do with this.
Yeah. Just crazy.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. So I have not read the internet stuff about it, but I totally agree with it. I mean, like you said, aside from the radical, violent Pitchfork Nation, I can leave the torches at bay, but I can be angry.
The huge initial negative response and huge skepticism, I think, is completely justified.
I remember when EA did this with Dungeon Keeper. If you remember that old game by Bullfrog, where it was essentially like a SimCity kind of thing, where you built a dungeon, and then every now and again heroes would come and try to raid your dungeon, and you'd have to kill them and fight them off, and you'd have goblins mining gold for you so you can build new dungeons and recruit new monsters. The game was awesome. It was so much fun as a sim. And then EA is like, now that Bullfrog doesn't exist anymore and we've got this IP sitting here, we could make it into a really lucrative mobile game.
How this would work? A mobile game.
Yeah. And so they took the skin, essentially, the concept of Dungeon Keeper, and they said, let's put everything behind time gates and paywalls.
Well, with this, they didn't even this is literally a reskin game. This company, third party company, has a game with the same interface. Jeez. And then now they've just swapped in Diablo assets, I guess. I mean, I don't think it's been quite proven to the interfaces have been confirmed as identical.
That's
nuts.
Nobody's
really played it yet that can report on it, so that part is still yet to be seen, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that it's probably the same game.
Gross.
Or very, very similar.
Gross.
Yep.
Do you have any, do you guys sign up? Are you going to get in on that? I saw Koosh signed up.
No, I don't care. I mean, I just, it came up on my Twitter feed this morning, and that's where I saw it. And then, and when I kind of saw it, I looked into it a little bit more because it, kind of intrigued me. But no, I have no intention of playing it or downloading it or supporting it in any way.
Yeah, same. Did any of the other Blizzard news pique your fancy? I think we got a new Overwatch character, Ash. I don't remember. I don't know. She's like a gunslinger.
I'm not really into any of Blizzard's games, actually. So I mean, I didn't really.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't really follow any of it.
There's a new Heroes of the Storm character, an original Heroes of the Storm character. Vanilla World of Warcraft got a release date, and Warcraft 3 is getting remastered.
Oh, I thought Vanilla World of Warcraft had come out.
They're doing something weird with it. I guess I don't know the
because
details about
that
it.
actually, I mean, it didn't interest me personally in that I would play it, but I really like that that idea and them actually releasing it. Like, I mean, RuneScape did the same thing a while ago, where people were like, "We like the game." We kind of agree as a community that this was, we all really enjoyed the game in this state. Can you make a separate game that is in this state? Yeah.
What a weird concept, though, to me.
It is weird. Well, it's my favorite thing.
I do get it, especially with Warcraft, because World of Warcraft changed really dramatically after. What was the second? No, the second What was the second expansion?
The mountain.
Lich King.
Lich King. It changed really dramatically at Lich King. It's to the point.
But then
where
that's what I mean. It seems so subjective. Okay, so anything up to Lich King is okay, but after Lich King is terrible. But okay, but Vanilla Warcraft to me would be Vanilla Warcraft is how it was initially released. But then if you release a game like that, do you not improve upon it? Do you not change it in any way? It's just a strange concept.
So
to me.
It is really weird, and it's kind of like a weird balancing act too. Because what RuneScape did is, so they literally went into the office, they found a backup from mid 2007 of the game in that state. They loaded that backup off the tapes or whatever it was on and put it on a server and released it. I mean, obviously there's a little bit more to it than that, but that's effectively what they did. So they call it old school RuneScape. So when old school RuneScape released, it was the game as it was on that day. Nothing was changed. But then they started updating it. So now it's kind of in this weird place.
It's like a half step.
Yeah, where it's basically, it gets updates all the time. So now it's so it has all of the, not all of them, but a lot of the quality of life updates that RuneScape 3 had that made the game easier. Because that was the thing, is people were complaining that they made the game too easy, and they didn't like the more complex combat system. So it's kind of like the state it's in now that's been out for a number of years. It seems like it's RuneScape 3 with the old combat system and bad graphics. Which is fine, but it's also kind of weird because now, is it really that kind of romanticized RuneScape of 2007 anymore? It looks like it and kind of plays like it, but it's also not. If I went into that game today, I probably wouldn't be able to keep up if I played in 2007.
Right.
It's also, it feels like something that's driven entirely by nostalgia, which, to be fair, that's a big driver for people when they play games. Certainly in this day and age with all the remasters and re-releases. But for something like World of Warcraft, which is meant to be a constantly changing, evolving game, even if you reset it back to the original vanilla version, okay, you can't keep it that way. People are going to get bored. They got bored then. They're going to get bored now. What do you want? What are you looking for? It's such a weird concept.
I guess the other interesting thing that old school RuneScape did is every update is subject to being vetoed by the community. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So no, it really is, because the community literally decides what happens to that game. Because if every update is voted on, and if it doesn't pass, if it doesn't get a 70% approval, it is not released. So it's weird, but it is exactly what the community wants every time. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because I haven't played it, but I mean, it's an interesting concept.
It is an interesting concept.
But the thing that's interesting too is I'm pretty sure old school RuneScape has a larger player base than RuneScape 3.
That's weird.
Which is really weird. But yeah, I mean, it's strange. But I suspect Warcraft will probably do something similar, if I had to guess.
Yeah, my favorite, I think, I'm trying to find the Kotaku headline, and it was something along the lines of Vanilla Warcraft, the game you thought you all wanted, but really don't.
I imagine that's probably the case for most people.
I mean, but people will, though. I mean, the other problem is I know people, I've talked to a couple people about this before with Guitar Hero 3. Because people really liked Guitar Hero 3, and that was kind of like it was like when Guitar Hero really became big, and the engine was very good, and it was very polished. But you'll never recreate the time of your life when you played Guitar Hero 3.
Right.
And you'll never recreate the time of your life when you played RuneScape in 2007, or the people that you played it with. Because all of them are, even if you had the same group of people, all of them are at a different place in their life. And you are at a different place in your life. And it's not going to be the same.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, even when you, even buying new games now and just think, oh, it'll be so fun to play this game. Like, you're just buying the dream of having time to play it now, as you get older. Like, the same thing happened. Like, when you were in your prime, being able to play Vanilla Warcraft, or World of Warcraft, you had no cares in the world. You were at school, you were in high school, you were whenever, and your life is so different 17 years later, or however long it's been. Like, I mean, good on you if your life hasn't changed in that amount of time. I'm shocked that you've survived, but most of us have moved on, have done different things, and like you said, all your circumstances that made that such an event have changed. And can you capture that nostalgia again? There's no way.
I mean, I think you can capture some of it. I mean, well, so I said I haven't played old school RuneScape. They just released RuneScape Mobile, old school RuneScape Mobile, so you can play it on your phone, which I was quite intrigued by. So I downloaded it at work the other day, and I started playing it today, and it is a real rush of nostalgia seeing those old graphics. Seeing the graphics exactly as they were, the bad animations and the old limited customization options, and it's cool, but I don't know how long I'm going to be interested in it. So
that's exactly the point. Because if you take something like World of Warcraft, right, which came out 2004, I think is when it was released. Not only has everybody's lives changed dramatically since then, if you even let's say you stuck with it for 2 or 3 years, or 4 or 5 or 10, like some people have, everything starts to get lost in that amount of time. You probably don't remember how Vanilla Warcraft played when you played it. And you're going to go into it and you're going to be like, oh man, I do remember this, and the sound effects are the same, and I remember this quest, and you have to kill these rabbits, but then 10 minutes later, it's done. And you're like, I'm not going to sit here. I played it 40 hours the first weekend that I had it. You're not going to do it this time. It's not the same experience, not by a long shot.
I suspect if, this is a thing that they've been talking about I heard of this probably a year or more ago. I thought it had already come out. I assume this isn't like a RuneScape situation where it's a backup of the game from that date. I suspect this is a Vanilla Warcraft as you remember it, not a Vanilla Warcraft as it was. Yeah, so I imagine it will be full of quality of life improvements and other things that, quite honestly, the people that want to play Vanilla Warcraft probably don't want. I don't know. Yeah, it's really hard to say. I mean, my wife played World of Warcraft like in the vanilla Burning Crusade, and I think stopped playing during Lich King. And we were just talking about this the other day because I thought it had come out, and she's like, yeah, like that sounds awesome. Like I would totally go back and try Vanilla Warcraft if I had time. But again, like, is it going to have those things that changed the game so dramatically during Lich King implemented in Vanilla Warcraft that kind of ruin somebody like her that would be interested in coming back, but not if the game is on easy mode, like what happened when Lich King came out? Because like that was kind of my understanding of what happened. Is it really just catered to making the game? You didn't have to learn how to play the game. The game just kind of played itself when Lich King came out, which kind of ruined it for a lot of people.
I can see it. Well, that's, I mean, I guess we'll, I don't know. I've never played World of Warcraft, and I can't imagine I will ever find time to even care. Like, I mean, most PC stuff. I'm actually intrigued by Warcraft 3 reboot. Although I feel like that's a nostalgia thing. Like, I can't imagine, like, I have no interest in playing Halo Wars or Halo Wars 2. Like, I don't think I want a turn-based strategy game in my life. Or I guess not even, I'm sorry, a real-time strategy game. I don't want one of those in my life. Those things are kind of dumb, especially on a console with a controller. But at least, like, when I remember playing those old school games, thinking this is really great. Like, I love this, or StarCraft back in the day, stuff like that. That's about it for the Blizzard news that I guess I care about. You guys want to talk about some video games that we've been playing?
Let's do it.
We should move over into that. Randy, it's been forever. Why don't you regale us with what you did over your summer vacation?
Well,
that was worth your time.
The biggest thing that I did was I finally got a chance to properly sit down and try VR.
Really?
Yeah. And I have never been that wowed by a gaming experience in my life.
Really? That's awesome.
Now I've heard before, like I've heard this description that there was like a point in gaming, usually I hear this from people that work in games, is like, kind of when 3D games first became a thing, like Super Mario 64, and not necessarily just Super Mario 64, but 3D games of that scale where they were really properly 3D and felt immersive, where that, like, descriptions of that, which is something like I can never understand, because games were always 3D pretty much when I played them, like, or when I played them seriously. But I understand that now after playing VR.
Really?
It is so incredibly immersive.
It's almost weird.
It's like you're there. Is you put that headset on and you put on a good set of headphones and you are there. And it's like I can't really I don't know. I can't really describe it. Like, it's the first time I've been wowed by gaming like that, and I get why people get excited about VR now. Like, it's
sure.
Like, I can agree that, like, that feels like it could be the future of gaming.
What did you play?
I played a bunch of games. I started with Beat Saber, which is what got me interested in
Beat
VR.
Saber is great.
Yeah, that's actually what got me intrigued in VR in the first place, because before that I was kind of like, well, that's not really, I don't know, didn't really feel like there's anything really there for me that caught my interest enough to really even have me interested at all.
So Beat Saber is basically, just so people know, it's basically Rock Band with sticks that you just hit things. You're holding two controllers and motion controllers, and you hit them, vertically or horizontally to the beat, they're coming straight at you. So it's kind of like you're hitting the notes with a lightsaber. That's why it's called Beat Saber.
And it is very now. The first part that really, because I did try VR at PAX, but it was more. It was cool, but it wasn't like an immersive experience. Like it was like an RTS game, and it was good, but it wasn't like, it didn't wow me.
Right.
But even Beat Saber, just the lobby, like you put this headset on and you're in a lobby where you start the game, and the way they've crafted the space of the lobby and the sound is like you're just like in this lobby, like in space, and there's like this giant neon sign in front of you and this big room around you. Like, it was amazing. And that's just the lobby. Like, you haven't even done anything yet. And so, I started playing Beat Saber, and like it's really immersive, and it's a very intense experience. Then I tried Super Hot VR.
Oh yeah.
And have you guys played Super Hot? Do you know how it works?
I've seen it.
Super Hot. No, I haven't played it yet.
So basically what it is it's a first person shooter, but it kind of plays like a puzzle game because time only moves when you move. So you can think about your moves before you make them, but it's also very demanding in that it punishes you severely for making mistakes because you have time to think about every move you make.
Right.
So that's kind of what makes it fun. I really enjoy Super Hot, but in VR, it's crazy. Like you have people coming at you and you punch them in the face, or you have this gun flying at your hand that you catch in midair and turn around and shoot the guy running at you behind you, and time and like. You do all these things, like you feel so powerful, and
now when you're
immersed.
moving your head, does that count as time moving?
Yes.
Okay.
When you look around, time moves. I mean, not a lot, but it does. So, I mean, Super Hot VR is really what sold me on VR. Now, I played some other games. I don't know what they were called, but there was a kind of traditional first-person shooter that was kind of I want to call it a tower defense game, but it's not a tower defense game. It's like a position defense scenario in most of the missions. But that was one where you move around in real time, you shoot, and everything happens in real time. But that one was really cool because, again, the thing that really makes it truly immersive is the sound also has to sell you on you being there.
Sure.
So the sound design in this game was incredible. So there would be a robot that comes up behind you and you feel like somebody's breathing over your shoulder because of the sound is so, like, you don't hear it, but it's almost like when you just have somebody walk up behind you and stand there. Like, you don't really hear them. You just kind of feel that they're there. If you know, I mean, like, obviously you do hear them, but kind of like not in a conscious way.
Sure.
It's just like that, and like you turn around and there's like a guy right there about to shoot you or like punch you in the face. Like, it's amazing. It's really amazing. So I've since.
So were you at a friend's house doing that, or
yeah,
were you...
I have a friend that he's had it. He bought it like right after the last time I went to Canada, I think, and I got a chance this last time I was there to actually kind of spend a couple hours just like, well, a couple hours a couple of times, because after the first session I had to go back for another one.
I needed my hit.
Yeah. And yeah, so after that I'm totally sold. I've started saving for a VR computer.
Wow.
And headset, and like it's just so immersive and cool and fun that I just like it's like no other gaming experience I've ever had. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I need need that in my house. Because I've also got
do you
I've
have
also got the
space
space
for it?
for it. That's part of it too. Is I do definitely have the space for it.
That's good.
I also conveniently, while I was in Canada, I found a very expensive Pokemon card that I had no recollection of buying. I found a first edition Charizard that's in pretty good shape. Just kind of among my old cards. It had the price tag on it from when I bought it years ago for $40.
Jeez.
You want to take a guess at what it's worth now?
So you bought it for 40? I don't know, 200.
Somewhere between 12 and 1400.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that hopefully will fund my VR computer when it eventually. Turns out it's not that easy to sell a really expensive card like that. I guess. I'm working on it. I've had a couple of lowball offers, which I've declined, so I'm trying to get a little more for it. But we'll see. But yeah,
I'll give you 10 for it.
So yeah, I was gonna say, any of our listeners who are real interested in a rare
if
Pokemon
one of
card.
our listeners wants, I mean, I'll give you a deal on it because I don't have to pay eBay a commission. So
look at that.
Yeah, there you go. So that
Brilliant.
yeah, and then on top of that, I after playing Super Hot VR, I played regular Super Hot, which is a very good game. I really enjoyed it. And I played a lot of Magic, and then I started playing RuneScape again about a month ago.
Sure.
They had a free month of membership with Twitch Prime.
I was like,
oh yeah, I'll use that. I guess it was like 2 months ago because I've since renewed. So yeah, so that's been fun.
Nice. That's awesome. Prue, what have you been up to?
Well, I haven't been playing any VR.
No.
Although I did. I mean, I've played Beat Saber as well, which was quite enjoyable. I don't think I had quite the epiphany that you did, Randy. Wasn't my favorite thing of all time. It was cool, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have had that reaction if I had only played Beat Saber. It was Super Hot that really sold me on it. Like an experience like that is really, I don't know, pretty crazy.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, but I've been playing some other stuff. So,
what?
Well, I guess the big thing I've been playing this week has been that we should talk about a little bit at least has been Red Dead.
That's right.
Yeah, and Randy and I were talking about it before the show.
I'm actually quite looking forward to talk about this because I haven't played Red Dead yet, but I have seen some things about it, so I'm interested to hear. Have you played it, Fream?
I've not. I've watched some video on it. I know I'm going to, get it at some point, but
yeah, I'm the same way. I haven't bought it yet, but I've seen some things on it, and I'm looking forward to playing it. It's just a matter of when.
So TA has me tracked at 16 hours, almost 17 hours of Red Dead. I have yet. And I'm not even sure that this is possible, but I have yet to enter Act 2 of the game. It feels to me like a myth, like it doesn't exist. I've been playing this game a lot. And I mean, I'm sure there are people who have played more than me. 17 hours in a week, that's not a crazy amount, but it's a good chunk.
Yeah.
And it feels like, and I've been actively playing it, and I've been doing missions, but I'm not even in Act 2 yet. From various media and talking to people, it seemed like one of the earlier missions that you get, and there's no spoilers here, so don't worry, but you get to unlock the fishing stuff early on.
Mm-hmm.
I just recently did that.
Okay.
This game is very, very, very slow, and I don't know if very, very, very is
strong enough.
Is strong enough. It feels like at least, so if I've played 17 hours, I'm going to tell you at least eight of them have been traveling.
Sure.
I even unlocked the fast travel options, and they aren't that useful. They're a little useful.
Fast enough for you.
Well, they don't. The fast travel only gets you to the nearest town. It doesn't.
Okay.
You can't fast travel to, unless I'm missing something entirely. You can't fast travel to. It's not like GTA, right, where you can hop on a taxi and go to your waypoint.
Yeah.
As far as I know, now I could have missed something. There could have been something. There's a lot going on in this game. There's a lot of superfluous and probably unnecessary systems.
Yeah.
So you don't really know what's going on a lot of the times. And the only tutorials that you get are text boxes that pop up in the top corner of your screen.
Okay.
So this game is very, very big, unsurprisingly, and very, very dense, but also at the same time shallow. It's kind of hard to describe. A lot of the systems that they're playing with, there are. So, for example, you have a stamina, health, and I can't remember the third bar, but you have this.
Is it your Deadeye bar?
Deadeye, thank you. Yes, that's exactly right. You have these 3 bars, and the cores slowly drain over time. So you quote unquote have to eat and find things to supplement all of these bars. Kind of doesn't really matter that much. Like a lot of these systems don't really matter. Like you're supposed to clean your gun. I think I've done it once. You're supposed to feed your horse. I do it occasionally. Like you have to wash your horse, otherwise it slows down. It's like, but it feels so minimal that it doesn't really affect anything.
See, when I read about the whole like survival system, I couldn't help but think like I don't really think I want that in Red Dead. Like it sounds like a chore, and like okay, yeah, I guess it makes it more immersive kind of, but like I don't necessarily only play Red Dead for it to be immersive.
Yeah.
It's so like specifically that it's not like you starve to death. Like that's not a thing that happens as far as I'm aware. Like I will stop every now and again. Like you'll stop and kill the animals like you normally do in Red Dead. And
always
then you'll just
horses for me.
Yeah, and then you'll just eat them, and then that's fine. And but it's not like. I guess what happens is your health drains faster, or it doesn't regen as fast if you don't eat every couple days. Like, so the systems seem so like superfluous. Like they don't seem to affect anything at all. And maybe this is just the way I'm playing. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But it just seems like 90% of my time playing this game is galloping my horse towards the next objective. And then I get there and I do the thing and it's great and it's fine. And then there's just... I don't want to brag on this game too much because it's a Rockstar game. There's a certain pedigree. There's a certain level of quality here. I mean, there's literally like... You're never going to see a game like this. Like it's so pretty. And it's so... The attention to detail is so high.
Right.
But it's also filled with a lot of stuff that doesn't really do anything.
And the other thing, too, is when I think of a Rockstar game, I think of a game that's supposed to be very fun. Like GTA. Like, the reason I like GTA so much is because it's fun. You can just go around and, like, shoot someone in the head, and you don't have to worry about it. You can drive, you just steal any car you want, and don't have to fill it up with gas. Like, could you imagine if you had to fill up cars in GTA with gas? Like that's just how I imagine. That's just how I imagine the survival system is like.
Or like you have to go to work.
Yeah, like
you can't afford your rent if you don't go like, do work.
Yeah, like or your car slows down when it is at half a tank or something. Like
it's really not. That's why I don't even know why these systems are in place because it's not even that obnoxious. If you don't feed your horse for a while, I guess it slows down, but it feels like you can still do everything that you need to do with the horse anyways.
But if you don't do that stuff, then you're not going to get videos of people punching horses and then the horse kicking their ass.
And even if you like, even to feed your horse, it's literally a one button press thing, and that's it. Oh, okay. Walk up to it, and then feed the horse. Okay, now the horse is fine for the next 2 hours. Like it's not even like an interesting or an in-depth system that feels.
So you just have to press a button next to. Do you have to have horse food?
Yeah, I guess, but I've never actively searched for horse food. I guess I looted it or found it. I don't know. I give him.
Feed it something else. Can you make a unicorn? But if you don't have
horse food, are they going to make you buy horse cards?
No horse cards so far, but
not yet. Not until Red Dead Online comes out.
Anyways, I will say that my biggest gripe for the game so far is just the obscene amount of just horse traveling that you have to do. And I've watched lots of reviews and stuff like this where you can go into what they call cinematic mode, So if you're like,
right.
you can, if you're traveling to a location for your quest, you can hold a button and then the camera will change dynamically, and you hold the A button and you'll just keep up with your riders and you'll just watch them as they chat.
Oh, like when you're cruising with buds?
It's the exact same camera system as in GTA 5, yeah. But the problem is that you don't automatically move at the fastest speed possible. You in fact trot at a very leisurely pace. So your conversations are over before you even get a third of the way to your objective. So that means that for most of the time, even if you are using that mode, you're just watching yourself trot casually to where you have to go.
And enjoying the scenery the whole
I mean,
way.
the scenery is very nice. It's very, very nice.
But is it 8 hours of viewing nice?
It's not that nice. There's things, but there are things like there are strangers missions or just random events, of course, that happen to you, like they always do in these types of games. But I'm more irritated than anything at this point. That it's like I want to get the story going on, but I have to walk. And I'm literally in, the first act. I've only unlocked probably a third of the map, if that. So I don't even know what's going to happen when I get the whole map. It's just, too much. So it's mostly just, for me, like when I'm like, oh, I'm going to play some Red Dead, it's mostly like, okay, all right, I'll play some Red Dead. But it's not as thrilling as I was expecting.
See, and I think that's kind of disappointing too, because the first Red Dead was really it was thrilling. Like it was very, it had a great story, and the gameplay was really the pacing was very good all throughout. I've also kind of heard descriptions of Red Dead 2 I've never heard, nobody that I've seen has described it as a bad game, but some people have described it as like a story with some gameplay once in a while. And just kind of the same issue of you just are traveling constantly, like, and it just feels like it never ends. And that, yes, it's a beautiful game with lots of attention to detail, but also kind of doesn't feel like a game some of the time.
Well, if
and is kind of plagued by not necessarily, I mean, I guess bad game design choices, but not bad design choices necessarily, that, like GTA 5 with the weird menus and things are unnecessarily difficult to accomplish, or, just for the sake of trying to be more minimalistic or, look a certain way, which kind of ends up taking away from the experience instead of adding to it.
Yeah, if I had to compare to the first one, I would say that it was, and it's been a while since I've put any significant amount of time into Red Dead, but it's very similar gameplay. It's a lot like the same core game, but stretched. So at the beginning, when I first experienced this, I was like, oh, this is cool. And I kind of dug the slower pace, and I thought that was a neat direction to go in. The problem is it's not, at least up until where I am now, it hasn't picked up at all. Like there's like to slow the character, the player down, is a good thing to do. I remember specifically that one moment in the original Red Dead when you go into Mexico for the first time.
Yep, that
was awesome. That sort of thing feels like they're trying to do that with the entire game of Red Dead 2. It's a game that moves at a glacial pace, and I don't know, it could pick up in Act 2 for all I know, but I'm 17 hours in and I can't even find Act 2, so I don't know when that's going to happen.
And I mean, that's a problem too, though. Is if everybody playing this game, if you need to play the game for 40 hours to get to the point where it picks up, that's a problem with your game. I mean, that was an issue with Destiny 1, is people would just put it down, or at least vanilla. I mean, I think they changed that near the end, but like people were saying, like, you have to play 40 hours just to get to the game. And I mean, I don't really think that's a good thing. So, I mean, if you have to play 40 hours to get to the game, people are just going to put it down before they get there. And maybe it's fantastic, but you shouldn't have to play it for 40 hours to find out.
Yeah.
The other thing that is weird about it, from what I've seen in clips and stuff, is it looks shockingly similar to GTA 4.
It is.
Like
GTA 5.
Really kind of weirdly similar. Like even just the way you fall down a hill is like that is, or not GTA 4, GTA 5. It's like that is GTA 5.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's built on the same engine. It's a Rockstar game. Really, you can trace the origins, especially with their modern systems all the way back to GTA 4. But it is through and through a Rockstar game. And all that being said, it is clearly a very good game, and there's a lot of amazing moments in it. The characters are great. The story is really interesting. I really want to see what happens with the story, and they always have those small little Rockstar moments between characters, and the random events. The random silliness that happens to you in Rockstar games. It's very prevalent in here as well.
Yeah.
But it just feels like I'm just struggling to do stuff at this point. So, but yeah, so that's Red Dead. But I've played a couple of other things this week.
So I guess final verdict on Red Dead. Would you recommend it?
Yes, I would, with a caveat of you are going to be invested for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
isn't that what most people want, though? I mean, like, they're getting it for a gigantic experience.
Yeah.
But is it too gigantic?
Whether it's
at what
worth your
point does
time.
it get too gigantic?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's fair.
And maybe I'm like, again, maybe in 17 hours, my whole view on it will be flipped upside down. I don't know. So maybe I'm still too early in, but it just, it's a slow start. I'll say that. But yeah, that's not the only thing I played. So real quick before we move on. Hey, guess what I got to do this week? I got to recomplete Rocket League.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been telling myself I'm going to go back and finally complete that.
Yeah. I hadn't done the tournament stuff just because I just didn't have any willing participants, so I redid that. But I've also just been replaying Rocket League a ton. So just basically some more free press for Rocket League, because that game is amazing and I love it, and it's probably my favorite game of this generation. I've been playing a game called Sky Hill to review. It's a very interesting 2D RPG light roguelite game. So you start at the top of this tower, top of a hotel, and you have to travel to the bottom of it, and you go room by room, level by level, and you have to fight your way down and survive, and there's a health meter and a food meter, and it's a really interesting game. I thought I was going to hate it at first, but it's turned out to be pretty good, and one of those sort of one more run type games.
Nice.
But yeah, check it out. It's pretty good. It's called Sky Hill. I also played Deployment, which was a less than 1 hour completion. Not much to say there, other than it's just it's a 2D twin stick shooter where you play different classes of ships and you shoot at the bad guys, and it's really easy. You can get it done in less than an hour. $10. There you go. Last thing I wanted to talk about was I got my Switch yesterday.
Nice.
I got my Switch.
But I hear you didn't get a game.
But I have no games for it yet. So this is an interesting thing for me because I've never done this. I've never had a system without a game, but I think I'll probably hold off until Pokemon Go, Let's Go, which comes out in 2 weeks, I want to say.
Gotcha.
I mean, you could get some like cheap little indie game off the digital marketplace or something.
I could, but I probably won't.
You could get Rocket League.
Actually, I was thinking about getting Minecraft.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So
that'd be kind of fun. Did you get your online thing going?
I did. I bought my Nintendo Switch Online as well.
Oh, so where you need a smartphone and a headset and an adapter to talk to someone?
But I mean, don't you then like have access to the NES store or whatever?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I do.
My son plays Tecmo Bowl on there.
Yeah, I'm sure I do. But That reminds me, actually, I might as well say it on the show because I've been hyping it up in the chat for a while. There was rumors, big, well-sourced rumors apparently, that there was going to be some Banjo and possibly some Minecraft in the new Smash Brothers game. Neither of these things came to be true, so we're hoping for DLC, cross our fingers. But right now, there's none of that. So let's hope there's going to be some Microsoft representation in the new Smash.
Banjo would just be the perfect character for Smash.
Yes, he would be
like really, like he's like the right size. He's from the right era.
Lots of moves.
Good
lots of moves to put in
there. You
there.
mean Piranha Plant doesn't do anything for you?
No, Piranha Plant was awesome. Just because
Piranha Plant is a Smash character.
Yes.
Yeah. First DLC character.
It's free.
Right.
It's a free DLC character.
Why isn't it just on the cartridge then?
Because the
game's not out yet.
Well, he's not done yet. There's 70
neither
free
is the game.
characters on the game in the game, so it's okay. We can cut him some slack. Anyways, so that's what I've been playing. That's my week. That's it for me.
Nice. My week. So all right, I'm going to start by saying because I added the Games Pass to my whatever, it totally messes up now, and I have all these garbage games on my Just for Fun UHH list. It's awful. It sucks. So I've given up. I'm done. I'm done with the UHH because I'm just getting like upwards of 15 to 16, 20 games that I just don't even want to play. I have no interest in starting F1 2015. Like, screw that noise. So I've given up, and I'm focusing now more on the RTDL, but I've also kind of shifted my gaming. And what I had done is I've kind of looked at my games that it's just like, listen, these have to get done. I have to get these off my system. So I created a hit list. And I want to get it down to like 100 titles. A good mix of some long story stuff, some short stories, some quick gamer score, keep my 3 ACA Neo Geos in the kitty, and like just have a smaller, more concise gaming thing without all these just hanging chads all over the place, right? Like, I've started Bayonetta because of UHH, and it's like, okay, if I stop playing that, I am going to get too deep into the game, and I'm going to forget everything. So, like, I should really just sit and focus a little bit better on what I'm doing here. So I created my list, and I'm hoping my new November RTDL list is going to get me to start chipping some things away, and I'm looking forward to that. However, I still need to make sure I finish my completions challenge for the year, or at least I'm trying. And so I went, and last time I talked, I was playing Paladin. And I told you last show, at the end of that show, I was going to go and finish that last achievement for $35,000 collected. And so I had done my couple of runs at 32.6 and whatnot. And so I'm like, okay, if I play it on hard, there's more bad guys, so I can get more money. Turns out, it becomes difficult. It takes a long time. You have to retry levels quite a bit. And so I dropped it down to normal for a little bit. And I went through and I played and beat it, and I got $36,000. I'm like, all right, cool. Where's my achievement? Why didn't it pop? What the hell's happening? Like, it says right there on the finish screen, $36,000. That should be good. Like, okay, well, maybe because I started on one difficulty and I changed it, maybe it has to be straight through. Okay, so I just did normal, or I did easy. But I made sure that I was super judicious about killing everything kind of one at a time and collecting everything, getting as much money as I possibly could. $39,000. Straight through. Did it. No achievement. Are you kidding me? I went to the hub. I uninstalled it, reinstalled it. I did all these things. No achievement. I was so frustrated. I went to bed at 2 a.m. I'm like, I can't. I stayed up late for no reason, and this game is glitched out on me. This is so awful. Woke up that next morning, and I got a message on my phone, an Xbox alert at 5:22 a.m. I unlocked the achievement. Don't know how it happened. Don't know why 5:22.
Nice.
Likely there were issues. So that was kind of fun. But then I went to look, and I'm like, well, where is it on TA? I don't even see it. Well, turns out it had unlocked at 5:30 that afternoon, so it was off by about 12 hours. And I didn't even start playing until 11 p.m. So it was about 6 hours before I even started the game. I don't know what had happened, if the AMs and PMs switched or whatever, but it got lost in the nether and it came back completion. Finished that thing off. Great. All right. So then that opens up to, I won my UHH because I had one crossover achievement between RTDL and UHH, or one game with crossover, and it was Late Shift. And I just got to the podcast, Proulx, where you were talking about that game.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I went and I finished that. I kind of liked it. I never played a visual novel before. Most of the games were more interactive than this. And so going into it, it was just like, this is a movie, and you just hit buttons and kind of play it along. And I was surprised with how fluid the transitions were, and now they, like going through about the first 75% of that, you're like, wow, this is really cool. Like I'm like doing it. And then when you get to the end, and in order to save yourself from having to do 7 playthroughs, you start manipulating what it is, and it's like, oh, this is how the sausage is made.
It just appears to be fluid, yes. Yep.
Yep. And it's like, that's really, like, I was hanging on everything and feeling like this is a really great story. And, my
Late
desire
Shift
to
is
get
an
the
FMV
completion.
game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
it looks so good. I mean, it's cool.
To be fair, it's the same sort of thing that Telltale does with their games. It gives you the illusion of choice.
The illusion of choice, absolutely.
And that's what kind of makes you compelling. But as soon as you realize that it actually doesn't matter what you're picking, you kind of just lose all motivation to.
I mean, that being said, though, like I felt as though the story diverged in some really significant ways,
Especially at the end.
Yeah, there were a few different things that didn't really matter, and I thought it was always funny when it was like, because one of the achievements you have to kind of to jack up the bidding, and then later on, like regardless of what it was, everyone says it was 10 million, and it's like, well, no, actually, I mean, it was more. Like, are you just rounding, or like what happened there? So who messed up the script? Because that's a detail that needed to be picked up. But other than that, like they did a good job of like maintaining the continuity, and and as things shifted and where it went, it was cool. It was unique. I've never played something like that before. I know there are multiple other games like that exist, but it was really interesting, and having. Like, I totally understand why you would have the achievements set up the way they were, because they encourage you to play multiple playthroughs. Now, of course, the way that they set it up, where you unlock the achievement by just going down that path, is where, they allowed people to bypass doing the actual playthroughs. And so, as the director, whoever that guy was, he should have been like, hey, listen, have them complete that section before, they give him the achievement. I'm glad they didn't. I'm totally glad they didn't, because I never would have played it, I guess, otherwise, knowing that it would have been a longer completion. But it was fun. It was really interesting. I also went into then, as part of my completion challenge, for having Paladin done. That's my money one. I have, of course, my Star Wars game. Haven't started it yet. I'm dragging my feet on that one. I got to do Sonic the Fighters, which happens to be on my RTDL this month, so I'll get that taken care of at some point.
Oh, it's so easy.
It's very
super easy.
It's like,
and I've done
20
half
minutes or less.
I've done the first 4 levels, and I have a save state, so it's like I'm literally, it's only like 10 to 15 minutes of just finishing it. But the other one I keyed on is because of NBA Kirkland said I should do this one, is Max the Curse of Brotherhood. And so I did another 4 worlds or whatever. I think it's like I did 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think it goes up to 7. That game is great. That's super fun. I'm sad that Press Play doesn't exist anymore, that Microsoft closed them, because that's a cool idea.
It was enjoyable. I played the whole game in one sitting when I did it, but it was, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. Like, it was fun the whole way through.
The mechanics,
I'll
the
probably
puzzles
play it again
change
at some
enough.
point.
Everything is, they just keep adding new little wrinkles. I'm surprised at how significant the difficulty increased when you added some other powers, that it was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is way more complex, but like, you get those breakthrough moments of like, yep, I see it. That's how you solve this puzzle. Like, and those are always super rewarding when you get to that section, or you can overcome an obstacle like that, where it's not like, oh, okay, now I just have to do this and I have to do this. Like it's spoon fed to you, where it's like you got to stare at it maybe for 10 to 15 seconds and say, all right, this is what I'm working with. How the hell does that work? And then, aha, light bulb. And, that's always super rewarding. The final thing I did for October to close that out on the RTDL is I finished getting the level 100 idling in Battleborn. So I got my both Battleborn achievements for my RTDL. That was great. I think I finished the month with like 12, 14 achievements last month RTDL. So it was a nice little month for me. And that is continuing now because I love my list, and I just went nuts and got 4 on that first night. I think Thursday night, maybe Friday. Yeah, it was Thursday night.
Oh yeah, I saw you're beating me right now.
Yeah, I went ham on that one. Started with kicking it old school. Went to Crysis, the old first-person shooter Crytek game. I am well deep into that. I'm like 70% through that game, and I'm thankful that most of the first-person shooter controls are standardized. I will admit, though, having your armor powers on the bumpers are super confusing when I want to throw grenades, and it's like, oh, this would be a great time for a grenade. You've activated cloak mode, and it's like, no, they know where you are. You're gonna die. And of course, when you do that, then you don't have armor, and you just get wrecked. And I totally forgot how to change guns. So I'm trying to shoot a tank with a rifle, and that doesn't work. You need a rocket launcher. And it's just, I struggled a bit. Still ended up, I needed to choke out 20 dudes, and so I looked it up. And I'm like, okay, how do I choke again? Oh yeah, go up to somebody and hold X. Great, I got it. I ended up playing that for get to a nice checkpoint. I think I earned like 3 or 4 achievements in that, which was kind of fun. And then I just had a couple quick hitters, like in Sonic. I had to upload a time in multiplayer for Sonic Episode 4. I hate how that handles. It's so sluggish. I don't like it at all. I prefer Generations.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't as good as Generation. I didn't mind it, though. I mean, it felt like it kind of played like the Sonic Advance games, from what I remember.
The level designs are really cool. He did a good job with those, but the handling, it's too... I mean, I guess it does. Yeah, you're right. It does remind you of old school Sonic, which I don't like either. Like, I don't feel like he stops as quickly, doesn't turn as fast. After playing a game like Rayman, where you have just so much control, and it's like, that's what I want in a Sonic game. Doesn't happen. 2 other games I want to talk about. Runbow, that it was a Games with Gold game back in the day. I had to do 15 levels where I got my 3 medallions, which is essentially time trials. Took me a while to figure out how the hell to get speed on those, and how to like manipulate your guy, but man, after about 4 or 5 levels and you started to go, you get to a little rhythm. That game's kind of fun. The way it works is ink washes over the background of the screen, and your platforms in the foreground that you jump on are of the color of the background, and so if they match, obviously you can't jump on it because it disappears into the background. And so you have to wait for the background color to change, which will bring that platform back into view. And so there will be blocks and, walls and jumps and all these fun things to do. And so trying to find a nice quick path through. They do a nice job mixing it up, giving you some random, some variation, which is appreciated. The final game I want to talk about, I don't even want to talk about it that much. Haunted Halloween 86. It was on sale for $5. $5 is way too much money for that game. That game is horrible. But my completion time, 9 minutes. It was.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is.
That's like Avatar status.
It almost. Is so fast.
It's pretty easy. Yeah.
Dumb. There's that first can of soda. Like, it was just stupid. I literally bought it for the points. It showed up on my RTDL. I was like, this is great. Got my early November completion, quick 1,000 points for the month. It was beautiful. I think with the ratio, you get 1,000 gamer score TA 1027. I mean, it is just a piece
I'm
of
surprised
cake.
it's that high.
It is
for TA score.
Yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous. So, I got some fun things to talk about next week, but I'm going to save them for next week because I don't know how much gaming I'm going to get into the week. But aside from that, and bingo, well, last thing I want to say, thank you so much for everybody throwing. I said this last week too. It is great to show up to bingo and get so much toys and money and all that stuff
every day. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been great,
Yeah.
and I ended up getting, I spent 10,000 coins so far, so I'm at level 29. So just kind of chipping away at that. Cool. Let's shift over. I only have a couple things I wanted to talk about here. One, and I don't even have confirmation about this yet, but The Evil Within 2, this was going around that they've put in a patch there, which now lets you enable cheats into the game. They've given you the ability to go in there, add cheats, and the rumor is that achievements are not affected. Have you heard anything to the contrary? Or even confirming that, because I can't seem to find anything, and I'm sure it exists on the internet somewhere. But man, how cool would that be if you could make yourself invincible, change your ammo, and just rip through that game? Because I think I'm too scared to play that game. I don't know how I feel about stuff like that, and I'm trying to find if the Evil Within 2 cheats still let you get achievements. Have you guys found it at all?
I mean, I saw the initial mention of it, but I never really followed up or saw anything indicating that, that was correct or incorrect. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
really hope it doesn't. It does say, okay, so the Steam one says they will be disabled until you turn the cheats off. So maybe, but I don't know. It says the console commands. There's some kind of communication about whether that'll work. It looks like the PC version, that's not the case. That cheats do indeed disable it, but I don't know about the console version. Although here I'm starting to see it now. This was on the 15th. Now these are all old. They're just saying this is what's going to happen. But since launch, I haven't seen anything that says that word. Anyway, if you're interested, take a look at it. Even if you just like the game and you want to rip through and just not have to worry about anything and play for quote unquote fun. I don't know how fun it would be if you're not getting achievements, but I guess people do that. The only other thing I wanted to talk about,
I've actually been doing that quite a lot lately, playing games for fun.
Yeah, especially, RuneScape.
Purpose?
But, you don't get any achievements for that.
I did finally finish System Shock. That was a great game. I was playing another game for fun, too. I don't remember what.
I want to ask about... So, every now and again, and most of you likely haven't heard of, or, most of our community isn't aware of this, but many of you did come from the Achievement Hounds community. That's where I got my start. I don't know if you've ever heard me on the community podcast over there. I like to. I got my teeth wet. That's not the right phrase. What the hell phrase am I thinking of? Anyway,
Feet
wet.
feet wet, teeth sharp. What's the teeth one?
Cut your teeth.
Cut my teeth. That's the one.
Cut your wet teeth, I think is what it is. Yeah.
I cut my wet feet on that show, and then obviously moved over here to Z to Z. But so I like to kind of put, it's a ghost town now. It is an absolute ghost town. There's nobody over there. It is dead. The owners don't exist anymore. It's just gone. It doesn't. There's no reason to go over there. But there's this weird part of me that likes to go and visit and just see what the hell's going on. And now that nobody's there to clean anything up, you end up getting the chat bots come in there. And so most of the time it's just blah, 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 blah. Here's a bunch of links to all the crap that we're selling. Oh yeah, you want like genuine
skincare best moisturizer,
Adidas shoes, and New York Mets jerseys, and all this other stupid crap. But then there's like some more sophisticated bots which feel like, well, hey, if I actually chat, then maybe people, either will read it or think I'm not a robot, or I don't even know. Like this is my question to you. Do these forum bots actually generate any type of links or anything? Like, I don't get what kind of idiot would be like, let me give you an example here. Okay. I'm going to read a bit of this because it is weird. The header, now this of course is in the, which forum is this? Is this the book? This is the book club forum. Americans spend an absurd amount on takeout is the title of this post, and here's the meat of it. Been a long time. New York Mets. This is a link. New York Mets MLB jersey sale, said the 48-year-old out of Wellington, Florida, with a sigh. About 10 years, maybe even a bit more. My daughter, 10 now. Admission $56, available from Ticketmaster, Lakota Tootsies. Brandick Forum and Busty Bass are among the performers at this year's Kaleido Arts Festival. 3-day festival takes place on rooftops, link to Cardinals MLB jerseys, alleys, parks, coffee shops, and other spaces as it brings music, workshops, theater, art, all and more to the 118th Street area. Check the website for schedules and other performers. But occasionally the tables are turned and the purchaser using his advanced weirdness to screw over the seller. And it turns out all you need is a strange enough hobby and advanced understanding for science. For instance, in 2008, an entomologist in London named Dr. Do you see it? If so, good. You'll have to fight it. To stand a chance, abandon all. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
Clearly, you don't have an advanced enough reason for science to understand what's happening here, Fream.
Like, are they pulling all this? Like, are they grabbing paragraphs from other posts?
It's scraping something.
Like really bad machine learning or something.
Yeah, it's grabbing a bunch of, I guess, what it sees as headlines and pulling snippets from it and stringing them together in a really haphazardly way.
It's just mindless nonsense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sort of sense. So
it's just weird. And so, like, I'm like, how can this possibly work? Like what could possibly drive me to read this sentence? I've been using an iPhone X for 2 weeks. Even after all that time, it's still difficult to offer a straight answer as to whether or not it lives up to its hefty price tag. Link to cheap Tampa Bay Lightning jerseys. Well, I better click on that. Like, what? Why would I? Whoever would feel compelled to click on that link?
So probably what happens is they have this network of bad bots. And then they have other bots that click on those links so it looks like they're generating clicks. But actually, the only things clicking on them are other bots just scraping for other bad headlines.
What I imagine it is that there's, a bunch of these. And, maybe one or two of them gets a click or two. And that's how it starts to learn. So it's just that you're catching it in the ugly stage, in the early stage.
Maybe.
But I don't know. That's silly.
There's plenty of these out there, and it's just like, granted, there's no, it's clearly not a human doing it. A human's not programming it, so there's no work. It's not like someone spent time to do this.
Somebody had to make the first,
Well, you just set it up to say, hey, scrape this, parse this, whatever. I don't even know. This machine learning stuff, like, these bots are dumb. Like, I don't know where they're learning from, but just reading these things, and it's like, especially on, I would have to imagine other sites, because you see them in comment sections all the time. You see them, they'll jump on there and throw up some links and say, hey, you should buy stuff from here, or I got great deals on whatever.
They're really bad on forums lately, though. I've seen them a lot of places. But that same kind of nonsense.
It's so weird. It's just weird. what the hell was I going to say? Oh, it reminds me of the, like, when those bots were talking to each other and they just started, they came up with their own code.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was just easier to talk to another robot by taking out all the English and just repeating the same word X many times, because then the other robot understood that to be whatever, and they just created their own language to be way more efficient. It's like, that's
and then
super,
Facebook decommissioned them.
Yeah, it's super fascinating, like, to think, yes, we use English to communicate, but I was listening to a podcast where they're like, why the hell do we still spell the word through THROUGH? Like, the OUGH is so stupid. We should just drop that. There's no reason to keep it anymore. It is so archaic, and it's confusing. Like, it should just be THRU. Like, people are using in shorthand. We should just adopt that and forget about the elongated spelling and the old script writing. And it's just, I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion on that either way. I think text writing is absurd, but
some people resist change, Fream.
Well, we're communicating that way because, if you're parked at a red light and you're trying to squeeze a text in because you're a dangerous lunatic, you gotta
you would never
get your
do
message
that, though,
across
right?
quick. Well, it's super illegal. Of course not.
Even in Minnesota, right?
Of course not. I think it is still. Yeah, I think it's illegal here. I certainly don't need my my insurance rates going up, but it's just anyway, we don't need to go down that path. That's pretty much all I had, guys. I don't know if there's anything else. We hit Blizzard. Fallout 76. Anybody playing that? I mean, I haven't. I've been seeing stuff about it.
I got some friends playing it, but I'm gonna wait till the full release, which is, I think, is it coming this week or next week? It's soon. It's definitely soon.
Yeah. Oh, so you are gonna play Get Nuked Simulator?
Yeah, I will be playing it just because. Well, here's the thing. This is perfect. My ultimate fear is that this is going to be Fallout Destiny, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Fallout Destiny. So I'm a little nervous about it. I don't know. I haven't been hearing fantastic things about it, but I love Fallout so much. I'll get it. We'll see what happens. But I haven't played the beta at all since I've been playing Red Dead. Yeah. But I will be playing the actual full game when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. I think people are skeptical.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. For good reason. Reason. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
I am real deep into my RTDL list. I got my other, we are recording on Saturday, so I do have my new UHH list, and it's dumb. I don't think I'm going to do any, like, Vermintide 2. Like, it's literally just completing the tutorial, but I don't want to start that game right now. I got like 3 Halo Wars 2 achievements on here. What the hell is it? Kingdom New Lands? No, I'm not starting that game. Gears of War Ultimate? Nope. The Hunter Call of the Wild? Nope. Forza Horizon 4? Yeah, not going to start that. I mean, I might play Titanfall 2. That's on my list.
Oh, I need to do that.
But, like, that's the only... And Sunset Overdrive, like, Sunset Overdrive is one that I want to get back into and I want to finish. Like, I'm almost done with the story, and then I could just do the side quests and stuff like that. But it's like that... Yeah, it's RTDL time, baby. That's what I'm doing. RTDL and finishing out the Fream Hole completion challenge. Hey, by the time we're done with this whole podcast thing, obviously I won't be able to talk about Fream Hole's completion challenge 2019. I have the list. I haven't looked at it in ages. I always write it in like January and February so that I have the entire year to forget about it, so I don't plan ahead. Because that would be super cheating from my standpoint. If it's like right now, I'm sitting on, like, I have one more game of Dominoes in Grim Legends, right, to complete that game. I completed another game this morning I'll talk about on next week's show, but it's like I could have saved those and not done them for RTDL, but it's like No, that's not fair. Like, I don't even know if they'll apply to whatever they'll apply to, because I don't remember what the challenges are. But that's coming out, guys. In January, you will see, maybe even late December, the Fream and Proulx 2019 Completions Challenge. It'll exist. I assure you that. There are 30 different completions you need. I've been having a great year in terms of gamer score, which has been super fun. It's awesome to look back and be like, despite the fact that I had a mental breakdown in May and have cut back on gaming quite a bit, like, I'm still scoring good amounts of points and having fun with video games. So it's great. Life's great. Except it's getting cold now. That's all I want to talk about, I think. So do you have anything else? Randy, do you have anything that you're working on? Anything fun that you're doing now? Anything you want to plug? You got any side projects you're working on? Great American Novel?
Not yet. I'm kind of working on something. Maybe we'll see.
Cool.
But yeah, not yet. I've been playing a lot of Magic. That's really what I've been doing lately. If you want to buy Magic cards, I sell some on eBay.
Ooh.
Probably not really that interesting.
Or a Charizard card.
Or a Charizard. That I would like to sell. I would like to get into VR. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's it's kind of sad that the podcast is ending, but it's been a good run. It's been fun. It's been fun coming back for one last show.
There you go. We appreciate having you back.
I've been enjoying games also, even though I haven't really been scoring many achievements.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well,
You grow up.
I'm not done achievement hunting. I'm just for now. I've still been playing. I've been picking away at GTA. It's kind of. I just have the stunt jumps. I just really don't like the stunt jumps.
Right.
And yeah, it's been.
My list has I think I've got 10 grinds on my list, and it's like I'm capping it at 10. Like, absolutely no more long grinds, and if I'm adding one that has one of those, I have to take one off. So at some point, like, getting all of that glitters in Diablo, like, gotta just finish that stupid game.
Yeah, I've been trying not to start any more grinds. Like, they're just such a pain. They're so tedious.
They're just awful.
And I don't really have the motivation to do them anymore. Like, I mean, even the ones that are on my tag are going to be hard enough. I mean, with that whole scare a while back, I'm sure you guys probably talked about when all the True Skill games went down. I was like, great, that's like, 1 or 2 games on my tag that are gone. But then they came back, and I was like, okay, I guess I better do those 5,000 matches in Quake. Guess how many I've done since they came back?
0.
Yeah.
Wah.
Yeah.
Bummer.
I keep telling myself I'll do them, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there. Well, delightful. Thanks, Randy, for coming back on the show and regaling us with one last time. Proulx, do you have anything you want to talk about before we sign off?
No, I think I'm good for this week.
Perfect. Well, that'll do it then for this episode. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day to give us a little listen to. If you want to head over to our website, zed2zed.com, that's ZEDTOZED. You can find the show there. Of course, you likely already know that. We do have our forums, forum.z2z.com, or Discord, discord.io/z2z. I want to thank everybody who has helped it for all of the time in the community and helped support us over the years. It has been delightful. So on behalf of our guest, Randy and Proulx, I have been Brandon, and to all of you achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you for our penultimate episode. Have a good one, guys.
See you later.
See ya.